Hello, boys and girls. Glad we are together again. My name is Mark Wilson, and I'm glad to tell you a story that occurs in the book of Acts. The book of Acts is really fast paced, action packed when the early Christians were figuring out what it meant to follow Jesus, especially in Jesus' absence after Jesus ascended back to heaven. And so in this one, there's a problem. Do you remember how many disciples there were? Were there 30 disciples? Nope. Were there 15 disciples? Nope. Were there 5 disciples? Nope. There were, you guessed it, 12 disciples. But one of those disciples, Judas Iscariot, was the one who betrayed Jesus. And so there then was only 11. Well, the disciples said, we need to get back to 12, and so we are going to choose one more disciple. And so there were two that were proposed that they offered up. One was called, his name was Joseph, called Barsabbas, who also had another name. And then there was a guy named Matthias. And so they ended up saying, let's decide by doing something that people in that tradition had done for a long time called casting lots. We don't know exactly what casting lots means, but it probably meant taking some stones or taking some sticks and maybe putting some letters on them or some colors or something and throwing them down, and then whichever showed up was the one who they would choose. Kind of like, but not exactly like, at the beginning of a football game when we flip a coin to see which team is going to choose to be the kicking team and the receiving team. So anyway, they needed a way to decide, and so they used this method called casting lots. And Matthias was chosen. So Matthias became the next disciple. What's interesting is that when Matthias was chosen, it makes you wonder what he was thinking to be chosen for such an important position. But when I keep thinking about you all, I know that sometimes you are chosen for important positions. Sometimes in your classroom at school, you might be chosen to be the door holder. And that's a big position. I mean, the door's not just going to open up and hold itself, and so someone needs to be there to greet the people. Or when you have special guests to school, sometimes your teacher might choose you to be someone who welcomes the guest. You could be chosen to be on a team. You work real hard. You might be chosen to be on a sports team or an arts team or some kind of team. You could be chosen to deliver a message to someone. And so sometimes you're chosen for that. You could be chosen to speak in church for Children's Sabbath. I bet all of you will be chosen to do something in Children's Sabbath one day. And so we are all chosen to do something at some time. And so I wonder when Matthias was chosen, what he was feeling. What do you think he was feeling? He might have been a little nervous about being chosen. Because he would have a special position and he would be a special leader. He may have thought, why me? I'm nothing special. There's nothing important about me. And so I think a lot of those things were going through his mind. And so when I think about you or me or any of our friends or family being chosen by someone or by God for a special reason, I think there are 3 things we always have to have. Number 1, can you feel your heart beating? Sometimes we think of our heart as something that gives us courage. If you have heart, you have courage. Sometimes we think that way. So I think you have to have courage. And so Matthias, he needed to have courage. He needed to have heart. Another thing I think we probably all need when we are chosen are ears. You got some ears? Pull on those ears, not too hard, but pull on them. If you can hear me, then you've got ears, but listening is different than hearing. Sometimes we say to our parents, oh yeah, I heard you. But if you really heard, that means you listened and that you thought about what was being said and that you remember what's being said. So If we're going to be chosen, we've got to have courage, we have to listen, and then we have to have hands. Because we have to be ready to go to work to do whatever we've been chosen to do. So think about when you are chosen the next time, just like Matthias was chosen for a special position. When you are chosen for something, even if you might not be excited about what you've been chosen for, remember that God has chosen you and that you need heart, courage, you need ears to listen, and you need hands to be ready to work. You will be chosen for very important things in life, and we are so glad that we get to be chosen beside you, and we look forward to seeing you soon.